Welcome back to Baseload Coffee. I am here with one of my favorite people in the world, Jesper Jolma, investment manager.
Yes.
For Baseload Capital. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
This is your first fika with Baseload.
Yeah.
But it's not your first fika with Baseload.
No. Of course, since being a part of the company for many years, I've had my fair share of fikas for Baseload, that's for sure. But yeah, it's an interesting concept. So I'm here to, as eager and interested as I'm sure anyone else.
But I'm pretty happy that I have cinnamon buns because actually we have Simon. And he always eats them, remember?
yeah. I remember from the last seminar, I think it was. So.
He admitted.
Yeah.
But I actually bought you some new ones.
Okay.
So you don't have to be worried.
Very good.
We're here to talk today about a special subject. We actually got a question. We always get questions, and that's the reason why we actually have these Coffee with Baseloads, because we get so many questions that we don't have time to answer. So This is our way of continuing the conversation and making sure that we don't need a big conference or a virtual seminar to actually answer them. So we got a question from Jose from Sustainablearth. And he is asking about how do we and what do we need for skill transfer from the oil and gas. And you have been working quite a lot with Chevron recently, so I thought that you would be the perfect guy to answer this question. Like, what skills are there in the oil and gas industry that we need to get into the geothermal industry?
Well, I think, first of all, of course, we have been working with Chevron for some time, but there are, of course, probably a lot of other companies that know this in much more detail. But from the time I've been working with and seen, I think there are quite a lot of different angles and competencies that we really need to make sure to bring in large scale. Because I would say that's one of the biggest things, to really have the resources, to really have those more larger designated teams that then can be really good at subsurface drilling and have those specific competencies that they then are able to evolve over time. So I would say one of the biggest things is really making sure that you have a group of people that continuously can work together on specific issues and problems, so that you can then become better for every time you do it. So for example, if you drill wells, instead of drilling single or a couple wells as you might do in geothermal, and then it takes maybe 6 months or even longer until you do it the next time when you have the other projects lined up, I think you lose quite a lot in that period of time. While as in the oil and gas industry, as I understand it, because you have so much continuous development going on, you can always utilize that and ensure that you have that continuous improvement all the time of knowledge.
So that's one thing. Is there anything else we need from oil and gas?
Well, I think in general their approach also makes it different. Oftentimes geothermal projects are large single risk projects, which also means then that you have this competencies that you need are more specific and short time, while as there they have more of a portfolio approach and they have many projects in parallel. So also from that perspective, I think in terms of then drilling and well designs and that type of thing, that specific competency that I think would be very good to have more into geothermal. But we know that there are very good people already out there that, of course, are professionals and very well experienced within drilling geothermal wells. But again, it's having that more mass behind it and the resources and the people to do it in a larger scale, so that you really can take advantage of getting better and reducing costs, risk, and time.
Do you think that they are generally better than the geothermal sector on like risk mitigation and all of those things? Or is it just the drilling and the specific skill set that they're better at? Well,
Personally, I think it's the whole package. The oil and gas industry, they have very strict regulation in terms of safety, also environmental pollution and so on. So they have pretty strict guidelines. But since they've been doing it, drilled so many wells throughout the years and decades, they've become really good at it, very efficient, very good. So if you bring a team out, they know exactly what to do. They can do it in a short period of time. They know exactly how to interact and really do it in an efficient way. But then also, I think there are some natural challenges that are different in the geothermal world that are different from the oil and gas world. So, the way you do things is also quite different. So even though you might think, well, it's drilling, how hard can it be? Well, it's a different type of drilling. It's often, larger size wells. It's different type of design, a different type of completion. So that also, in a natural way, can also then make it more time consuming or take longer. So yes, we can and we should, of course, spend a lot of time and energy focusing on bringing the competencies over. But I also think we need to be mindful of the differences, and ensuring that we actually then not only sort of put everything that we do today aside and say let's just bring in oil and gas people to do it because they have been drilling hundreds of thousands of wells. Well, it's different.
So really, it is the skills and collaborations we need, in a sense.
Yes, I would say so. And again, if you have the approach that that you won't be drilling just one or a few wells, you will be drilling maybe 10 or 30 or 50 wells. I think that's also a different approach then, because then you can build your teams in a different way and structure things in a different way. So again, you can learn more continuously and ensure that you get a better development curve, basically.
What about like skill sets from like pure business, where I'm thinking marketing, I'm thinking lobbying, I'm thinking sales? What about those skill sets? Is that something that we can learn from the oil and gas industry?
Oh yes, for sure. I mean, I know. I mean, for example, if you take lobbying and in terms of like governmental regulations and so on. I mean, one of the issues that we have right now in the US at least is that in order to get a drilling permit, you oftentimes have to do quite lengthy environmental permitting before you can even drill an exploration well. Well, as I understand it, that's very different in the oil and gas industry. There you can, because of the lobbying that's been put in throughout the years, they've been able to get exclusions or different pathways around that, so that not to avoid and not to cause environmental damages, but rather they understand that if you put too much regulation up front, it takes too long time to develop, and that just hinders the development process. So if we can, put those type of resources in place to make and streamline the development period and the process, I think that would, be a big game changer for geothermal.
When we were in Houston on Sarah Week, we had a discussion with OCGI, sorry. And it was quite interesting because, I mean, that's a conglomerate that actually like put together all the different oil and gas companies, and they are together working towards, in this case, it was sustainable work that they wanted to do and focus on, and made sure that they had a lot of money and focused the money and the resources and so on. Is that something that you think could benefit, for example, the geothermal industry?
I mean, yes, for sure. I mean, as long when you go together and sort of have more united messaging, I think that's also a lot easier for legislators in general to then also understand what changes they need to do, because then it's not a matter of potentially doing things that are more favorable to some parties in the industry than others. Because if you go there united and you all say we all have this issue, then hopefully that is also then a better enabler, or making it easier basically for them to make the right decisions. But of course, I think it's also different, recognizing that huge oil and gas companies, they have different resources at hand. By nature, there are many more of them, and frankly, they have more money. So I think that's also a big thing to consider here. That I think and hope that there will be more companies going into geothermal that are looking to develop geothermal projects, and that we will be able to grow the industry as a whole, and that will in turn then also create more interest for that type of more unified messaging or lobbying. I know there are some efforts already, not to undermine them in any way. I just think that we could probably do it even more and even more larger and united way.
I agree. So if you would summarize the thoughts that we've had here today in order for Jose to bring something with him, what would you say to him?
Well, I would say, first of all, we need to attract the right talent. We need to want them to come over, but when they do come over also, I think we as the companies need to try to put the right opportunities in place so that you can have this continuous improvement and learning curve, so that you ultimately can reduce risk, cost, and time.
Good. I think that, and I hope that Jose is happy with the answer that he got.
I hope so.
Yeah. I hope that he's also having some coffee and fika in front of him when he's watching this.
I hope this is becoming like a trend out there that people are actually having coffee while watching this. I don't know.
Yeah, I do hope so. Like taking a break, 15
Yeah.
minutes, just getting some new input in it. And if you are, please make sure that you comment, you help us, and also send in more questions to us for us to answer. And who knows, maybe we'll have one of them sitting in the sofa.
Yeah,
someday.
that would be great. And maybe
would
we
be.
should have that as a caption next time. Step 1, get your coffee and cinnamon bun. Step 2, play.
I think you just did it. We're going to have that as a caption. Jesper. But now, my big question. How do you eat your cinnamon bun?
Well, I would probably just grab it and start on one end and finish at the other end. I don't really have this sort of go into the middle
Really?
first.
I have a strategy. I go from the side. You know, I want to like save the best parts from last.
yeah.
So I do this.
Yeah, no, I just go for it.
You just go for it.
Yep.
Well, that's a way of doing it as well. Anyway, it's good.
It's
I hope.
excellent.
And I'm happy that we actually have some left. So please make sure that we hide these from Simon now. If you liked this episode, make sure to like, comment, and share to someone that you like. And until the next time we see each other, I hope you take care of yourself and, if you can, someone else. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy. I've been eating for this for a while now,
That
and
was
I
really
need to
good.
come
And
to
it
the
was
end.
juicy.
Yeah, it is. What? You already in the middle?
Yeah. Just a couple of bites. That's one sandwich is cool.